Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're enjoying it half as much as I am loving bringing this content to you. The great news is that we've only just got started. It's been lots of royal content so far and I promise I'll do more royal fashion very soon. But before we get into all the fun and the nitty-gritty of fashion, style, beauty with tips and colour and confidence and wardrobe and bringing it all to you, I thought I should share a little bit about my story and my why, because I am passionate about feel-good fashion and the transformative effect feeling good about yourself can have on your whole life. I know it from first-hand and I'd like to tell you how I got into it. So before I start, a little reminder to press subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notifications bell, that way you never miss another episode, and do leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you and I promise that I will reply to all of them personally. So I came into the fashion industry myself quite late. I was married and had 2 young children, and I'd had many previous careers, and I was always the one that all my friends would come to for style advice or beauty tips, but never did I even dream that I could work in the industry myself. Little did I know that my life was about to change forever one September. After my husband and I had had a lovely weekend away without the children, and we were driving home in the half light, the dusk, and I was relaxing in the passenger seat, my husband was driving, and I had my feet up resting on the dashboard and they were crossed. The van in front of us, the brake lights weren't working properly and the driver had to brake very suddenly. Because of that funny dusk or half light, we went very quickly into the back of him at about 40 miles an hour, which deployed the passenger airbags. The airbags explode at a couple of 100 miles an hour and they deployed and threw my crossed ankles against the safety glass, and being safety glass, it didn't smash, so my feet and ankles did. And the car filled with smoke. My husband was okay. He jumped out and screamed for me to get out of the car because he thought it was going to blow up. And I had kind of blanked out. You never really remember those moments, but I do remember sort of coming to my senses and trying to move my feet in order to get out of the car. And then as soon as I tried to put any pressure on them, I was in the most excruciating pain that was sort of radiating up and down my body. My husband lifted me out of the car. There were a group of onlookers who had seen the crash, so they came to help. I was carried to safety and an ambulance was called. And then, just by circumstance really, we were very, very unlucky. It was a quiet Sunday in the summer. I guess many medical workers were on holiday. The first ambulance took 45 minutes to come. The second was sort of 40 minutes after that. All the time I was in excruciating pain. But the problem was my legs actually looked quite normal, strangely, despite the extent of my injuries. We now know that we should have had a whole medical crash team waiting for me at hospital to rush me into surgery. But we had no idea what was going on then. So I was eventually taken to hospital and left in a corridor for quite a long time to wait until I could be seen. All of this time I was in the most pain I have ever known in my whole life, and I've had 2 natural births, and it was quite like anything I had ever known, but we didn't know what was wrong with me. The doctors worked on me eventually. I remember them literally arguing over me, trying to work out what was wrong. And again, because we were unlucky, I think, despite x-rays, they didn't really understand the full extent of my injuries, not even all the final ones, until actually 6 months after the initial accident. My feet, one in particular, was literally smashed into pieces with multiple dislocations. They found all the breaks and things slowly over a period of weeks. I was in hospital for weeks and I was assigned to a pain team because they simply couldn't manage my pain, and I would spend nights on the ceiling in absolute agony, screaming. I didn't know myself because I'm not someone that would normally make a fuss. It later transpired that I also had a damaged, severed and tethered nerve from the crash, but we didn't find that out until months later. The doctors were very grim. they gave me a very bleak prognosis and offered amputation as an alternative because they thought it would just take me years and years otherwise to try and get a full recovery with the extent of the injuries. Plus, something very important, my talus in my foot was broken, and that doesn't have its own blood supply. So there was a very high chance that I was going to contract something called avascular necrosis, which is basically bone death and then decay, which would cause my whole ankle to sort of crumble in on itself, which is why amputation was pushed as a very good idea. I didn't want an amputation, and I was in denial about the whole thing, but actually deeply I was very, very angry. I was in victim mentality, and instead of facing the reality around me, I just chose to carry on with that medication. I was literally wheeling myself around in my house in my wheelchair on the ground floor because I couldn't get up the stairs, swigging morphine from a bottle and choosing just to let everything go fuzzy and certainly not accept the reality of what I was being given. I even neglected my children. My kids were 2 and 4 at the time, and I remember whenever they would come into my room, my daughter in particular would cry because she wanted some mummy love, my youngest, and I just asked for them to be taken away because on all the nerve medication that was really messing with my mind as well, I just wanted them out of the room. I couldn't stand it, which is still something that I now live with today. My poor daughter, Lily, she had separation anxiety for quite a long time after that. We have worked on it. She's now a beautiful girl, but it was a very difficult time for our family. And I had just given up. I had friends that would come and visit me and they'd bring fashion magazines because they knew that that would keep me going, and it really was the only thing, that and custard tarts actually, that would keep me going. But it was a very, very difficult time, and it went on for months, and my husband was amazing. He rose to look after the family and help with the kids and just tried to be the best husband as he could while I lounged in bed and felt sorry for myself. Then one day, for some reason, I don't know why, I went up to use the bathroom, which as usual took me about 20 minutes because I had to use all this mobility equipment and ease myself out of bed and on my wheelchair and around. And afterwards, for the first time in months, I allowed myself to look in the mirror. And what looked back at me was an absolute shock. I could not believe the ghost that I was seeing. I was pale, I was bloated, my face was puffy, I had a bird's nest for hair, my eyes were red and bloodshot and sunken. I absolutely just didn't recognise myself, and I'm thankful for that moment because actually it woke me up. And in that moment I knew that I had a choice, and my choice was either to carry on as I had been and still be angry and still give up and remain in victim mode, or I could try and fight this somehow. Thank goodness I had the grit and the determination at that moment to decide to fight. I'm super stubborn. It came in really handy at this time. So I made that decision that day, and I'm not going to pretend it was remotely easy because it was literally against all the odds. My statistics of having to have an amputation were very, very high. But slowly and surely, I did start to make incremental improvements. I'm sure some of you might want to know what worked. I tried everything, everything complimentary. I have to say I was quite upset with the medical side at the time because I was just really being given an amputation. I did find the most incredible physio that worked not only on my muscles but my nerves, my veins, my arteries. Very, very complicated and delicate work which really helped to get some more feeling into my foot because it was totally paralysed. I did have a nerve operation to free and liberate the severed and tethered nerves, which helped tremendously. And I tried something called hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which is incredible and basically saved my foot. It rescued my talus, which was given this death sentence. And we were so impressed by hyperbaric therapy, which is quite hard to get still, certainly in the UK, and actually the range of conditions it can treat so effectively. My husband and I actually then went on to open a clinic of our own in Winchester near where we live to offer this to other people and make it more available because it really is a fantastic, fantastic therapy. And I'm going to pop the link below. So slowly but surely, I did get better. It took a very long time. During my recovery, it triggered latent Lyme disease, which actually I found out I'd had since I was a child, but I didn't know. So I had all that to deal with as well. It wasn't easy, it was very arduous, but I got there. And I was so delighted to get there that I then totally changed my attitude and decided that my new mantra would be to say yes to every opportunity that came my way. And I did. I managed to get myself onto some styling courses, starting first with personal styling, which I loved. Then I applied to Central St Martin's, which I thought I'd never get into because it's a really prestigious fashion styling school. I got in. Then I phoned everyone that I knew and took some chances, phoning up old contacts and asking favours. And the universe was definitely on my side because before I knew it, I was given a fashion editorship at my friend's luxury magazine. I'd never done this before. I didn't know what I was doing. I was certainly out of my comfort zone, but no growth ever comes from staying in your comfort zone, right? And I certainly can speak about that firsthand. And before I knew it, I was a fashion editor. I was doing incredible fashion shoots, which I absolutely love, all over the country. I was traveling internationally for Fashion Week, writing on it in the national press, on television, talking about my passion for fashion and so much more. I started a podcast, which I love. It's called Fashion Weekly Podcast. I think it's great. Go and check out season 1. I'll link it below as well. And I was really living the life of my dreams. But none of that would ever have happened if it hadn't been for that car accident, which literally changed my whole perspective on life. And it was like a death sentence to me in many ways because I was told that I could never walk again, wear high heels again, dance again, all the things that I love, go running. And I wasn't prepared, once I'd got myself back together again, I wasn't prepared to have that taken away. So I am really thankful to that experience because it totally turned my life around. I now know that for the first time in my entire life, I am doing exactly what I am meant to be doing. I feel like I'm totally in flow. It's been really healing, working on my own appearance and learning about how to make the most of yourself and teaching other people to do that. And I can very firmly say that there is no quicker way to feel better if you're having a blur day than to dress in an outfit that you know makes you feel a bit slinky and you look good in, blow dry your hair, spend a few extra moments on your makeup because it transforms your energy on the outside. And then your internal energy, even if you are feeling a little bit low, can't help but rise even just a little bit to meet that external energy. So that when you see yourself or catch a glance of yourself in the mirror each time, you'll just get that little self-esteem boost that you needed. And it works. There's so much more that I can talk to you about that subject, the transformative powers of fashion. And I'm very, very passionate, as you can tell, about it, which is why I want to share my knowledge with you all, hence the reason for this YouTube channel. So thank you very much for bearing with me with that little personal anecdote. I'd love to hear your comments. If you're going through anything similar, if you've had similar experiences or life-defining moments like that have changed your life, hopefully for the better, I'd love to hear about them. If you have any fashion or style or beauty questions, do drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear those too because I've got so much to share with you. Everyone deserves to feel their best. Every woman deserves to feel beautiful because you really are. We're all unique. We all have really special gifts, and it's just tuning in and realizing what they are and how to make the most of yourself. And I am here to help you do that, and I am going to do that, and that's my promise to you today. So that's it for now. Thank you very much for bearing with me and letting me tell this story. Have a wonderful day. Stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss another one. And I am bringing you some really cool, feel-good fashion and beauty content very soon.